All right, let's get started. So thank you guys. This session is going to be focused on Adept collaboration tools. So you've already met me. So collaboration is a joint effort of multiple individuals or work groups to accomplish a task or a project. Within an organization, collaboration typically involves the ability of 2 or more people to view and contribute to documents or other content over a network. It's really a purpose to achieve a business benefit. So we're going to highlight a couple tools that really lend themselves to that process. We're going to start off with PublishWave, and then we're going to look at a few other ones, and we'll go from there. First off, how many of you folks use PublishWave? Not bad. Very nice. Very nice. All right. So after we get through the PublishWave topic, I'd really like to hear more about how you're using it. We heard a couple examples earlier, and that's actually what I'm going to show you now is 2 other examples of use of PublishWave. So if you, during this, think of, oh, we do one other thing different, please let me know about that afterwards. So what is PublishWave? For those that aren't using it, it runs on a workstation class machine along with the needed application. Whoops. So if you're publishing AutoCAD files, you need AutoCAD, Excel, Word, whatever the CAD application might be for that desired output. So submission to PublishWave can be either on demand, or you can have job requests being made, submitted via a check-in or a final approval of a process. And this can go to a specific input folder, and that's configurable. From there, PublishWave is watching one or more of those input folders to process the job and output it to be printed or plotted. Optionally, you can also automatically have files checked back into Adept using PublishWave. That's the Publish to Adept feature. So, for example, some of our customers have a group of design files that they don't want anybody else to see other than the designers. But the output from those, they need everybody else to be able to see. So publishing PDFs back into another area with the same metadata as the actual documents enables a larger group to participate in that. So let's see here. We can also have it watch a folder. Somebody mentioned this one earlier. Watch folders is a really nice almost side benefit of PublishWave. It enables you to go and point to a folder somewhere on your network, and PublishWave watches it. If something lands in it, it'll then process that file and bring it into Adept. So if you've got other users in your organization that aren't using Adept, but they have a need to contribute documents to Adept, and you don't want them to have to go through an Adept user, this is a great way to do that. So why do companies end up using it? There's really a lot of different reasons. I mentioned it's kind of like a Swiss Army knife. Reliable, consistent output. Output that's easily distributed and consumed by other users in and outside of Adept. Output that's automatically updated as changes occur. PublishWave can be keeping another location, maybe a project website, always up to date with the latest versions. Unbeknownst to those users, they just go to that location, they grab the file, and they're always getting the latest one. Also, an automated method for exporting data from Adept, including the metadata. So when you're outputting this information, it can have accompanying information to go with it. Is anybody using the XML output in PublishWave? So these are really just a few of our customers that are using PublishWave. Did I miss anybody here? Yeah? All right, we'll add it. All right, so one of our customers had a really strong need to automate their drawing production. And at the same time, they wanted to integrate with SharePoint to make sure that all necessary information and data about their documents was present for all users. It's kind of similar to what Jessica was saying earlier. They needed to store their valuable CAD and related files inside of Adept as their single source of data. And they also needed to have an intelligent way of storing the documents in SharePoint in a particular library structure for those users. So here's how this process was automated using Adept, PublishWave, and the internal talent of this company with SharePoint administration and designers. Whoops, I missed that one. So they, let's see here. Are you going to have to do this again this way? There we go. All right. So first, they decided that on final approval of a workflow, they wanted to automatically generate PDFs. So here you can see a final approval being made to a document, and the workflow is the internal trigger that kicks off the entire automated process. Once that final approval event happens, Adept automatically sends the drawing to be published by PublishWave. So oops, went the wrong direction. There we go. So the drawing gets approved, and then it gets moved in and published. So their setup, PublishWave is waiting for that work. It sees the job in the input folder. It comes in. They publish the output of it. And at the same time, that final approval event is triggering the Adept's data exporter to automatically create the XML file for metadata from the original drawing. That's the source of the PDF and places it in the same network location. And here we can see those two being married up. So they have the internal talent in this company to leverage that information in SharePoint using scripts, applications they developed to take advantage of PublishWave output. So this was one example here. Here was their final output. They even used naming convention. So each segment of the file name is used. The first segment defined the parent folder location. The second segment was the job number. And that was used to determine what subfolders those files would go into inside of SharePoint. All that information was really valuable for anybody that was using SharePoint only. And that enabled them to develop their own personal programs inside of SharePoint. So the result is they're able to accomplish their goal of automating the drawing production and providing a single point of access via SharePoint by leveraging information stored inside of Adept. So one, users can now search for documents in SharePoint using accurate, up-to-date metadata. Number two, the data is also used in the headers and columns of SharePoint, so users can easily see important information at a glance, and they know their users are always finding the latest released version of all their documents. Second customer, a little bit different. They had requirements. First off, they needed to provide the fastest possible access for users in all locations. They had a lot of different locations. They wanted to make sure that everyone, whether using Adept or not, has access to drawings created and stored inside of Adept. Also, clients and vendors want a single PDF file containing all documents, not a zip of like 100 different files. They still needed to create and manage the single PDFs for usage within their company and also manage the combined PDF documents sent to clients and vendors. So that was their requirement. So let's start with a configuration diagram of the system for Adept and PublishWave for this customer. Minneapolis was actually the location for them, containing the Adept database server, Vault, and PublishWave server with Publish to Adept. The engineers reside not only in Minneapolis, but also in other locations. And it just made it really fast for the files to be accessed from those locations. So Adept Vaults and PublishWave servers are distributed at each geographic location, whether those engineers reside there or not. This, again, allowed for really fast access to those files. When an engineer created a PDF using Adept and PublishWave, the PDF is automatically signed into Adept, related to the native file which it was created from, and then Publish to Adept does this, and PublishWave to Adept does this without any user intervention, which is very, very useful. So they just simply select it and move on. So when a client or vendor requested information from them, the engineer will gather the single PDF stored in Adept and submit it as a job to PublishWave, instructing PublishWave to combine the output into a single PDF. All right, this single PDF is then automatically signed into Adept so that a record exists for all the combined file. The combined PDF file is sent to the client or vendor as an attachment to an Adept Transmittal. Using Adept's Transmittal feature, the Adept Transmittal is also recorded in Adept for future reference. And we're going to hit a little bit on Transmittals after. All right, so the benefit provided by PublishWave in this is that all the drawings already have PDF files in Adept and in the network folder for non-Adept users to access, which enhances collaboration. These PDFs are constantly updated as the new PDFs are created. I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with the output of PDF, but you can set that up to be a unique file, the same file name every time, so it's constantly overwriting the old one. All right, so when a transmittal package is needed by a vendor or client, the engineers use PublishWave to output that for them. Now, next item, any questions on PublishWave? Yes? Yep. Sure, yeah. So a couple things need to be able to see each other. So if you have other locations, PublishWave can be pointed to any folder. So if PublishWave is set up on a computer at your main office, you can point a watch folder to be on a server at that other office location. You can also instruct PublishWave's output to be that other location, or your own location. In most cases, PublishWave is used at each site. If it's heavily used at one site, not as much at the other. If they're trying to use it, they may have to wait. So in most cases, you want PublishWave at each location. Yep. But did I hit your second part of your question, though? Yeah. Yeah, Joe, do you want to add to any of that? I know if you want that folder to be outside your network, it would be outside your DMZ, outside your firewall. For them to be able to get access, PublishWave can do that. Did I hit that correctly, though? I'm still not sure.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I believe the question is, how do I produce this data or get this data that PublishWave produces and make it available to someone who's not within the company, you know, not within that firewall?
Did he get it better?
And that's the trick. I'm not an IT guy. I don't really know the answer to that. So I'm going to pass this to Todd.
That's fine. That's okay. Yeah.
Do you want to
That's
try?
okay. Share the knowledge.
Yes.
Yes.
So IT, got to talk to IT about how they want the transfer from that place outside the firewall to come inside. And tomorrow, though, we're going to be talking about a feature that would allow you to handle that with blessing from my upcoming feature that will allow you to handle that as a business owner with once IT blesses the platform. So that's something we're working on for 2019. But go ahead.
Generally speaking, we work with many outside engineering companies or vendors.
Yeah.
Like them, instead of sending us everything through FTP files and
Yep.
emails,
Yes.
send it and also make documents available to them.
Yep. Yeah. Does that sound like a? Does that sound? Well, so we certainly could. Yes. So certainly we have an entire, as you know, we have a team dedicated to do that kind of thing. We're also have in the wing, the last couple of years, our top most requested feature has been a capability to handle that exact use case. So I'm stealing thunder from tomorrow, but we're going to take that up in 2019. If we want to talk about, we'll be glad to talk with IT folks and help them understand, but, in the meantime, there are things that could be done.
And we'd be happy to have a kind of like a work session with you where we kind of lay out, here are some of the pieces that you require, and here's how we might be able to do that. Even the folder locations are going to be something that we'll have to discuss. You know, you got one folder that receives files, but you would probably have a separate location where they would go and get files themselves, because you couldn't have it be the same spot. Let's do that. Yep. Yep. Thank you. Yes. It can. Yeah, so that watch folder isn't just for existing files, that's for a new file. So very simply, it's watching it. Any file gets put on it, PublishWave says, I will sign that in for you. The person signed in is the PublishWave user, and they bring it in. That may kick off a notification letting somebody know, hey, this has been added. Come and review it before it's officially released or something like that. But did I hit on that okay? All right. Okay, Nick. Yeah. We've even looked at doing that for work areas that are connected to a Dropbox folder. It's a folder, so PublishWave just needs to be able to recognize it and watch it. So as soon as something lands, it'll pull it in. Yep, good example. All right. Another question, Eric. Good example. Yep, very good example. Yep, the FTP site, it's a folder internal, it's FTP out external. Okay, thanks, Eric. Any other items? All right, the next one up is Transmittals. So Adept's first off, how many people are using Adept's Transmittals? All right, not bad. Not bad. All right. Here, too, I'm going to mention a few different ways it's used. Really, the Transmittal Automation feature makes the process of creating, sending, and tracking transmittals easy and fast. Reduces the chance of errors compared to manual transmittal process. Now, they're commonly used for project collaboration between owner and operator and EPC or AEC firms for RFPs and bid responses, or anytime there's a need to send and track document sets to outside vendors, contractors, or customers, or even to internal people that might not be using Adept. We call it Transmittal Generator, but that's a work order. That's a document transmittal e-summary. This one's a change order. You can call it anything you want. Essentially, it's a group of documents you want to go together with a formal cover letter that lists information about the files. So these forms are all customizable. They're flexible to your environment. And they support the use of your own customized cover sheets. So you can create your own graphics, your own layouts. And these are all definable by you. We also have transmittal forms. We also have a relationship that's automatically maintained between them. So when you create a transmittal, I'm going to show you an example in a moment, you have the ability to pick and choose which files go with it, and it'll list all those and how you want to send it off. So let's take a peek here. Let's see if I can get in. All right, so transmittals. First off, anytime you're creating a new document in Adept, transmittal is one of the options. Documents are unlinked records. There's auto-naming features that you can use. I'm going to go and pick a transmittal format. I bet this will make things easier. Maybe, maybe not. Well, this just worked a minute ago. I was sharing. No, it's my live desktop. I just did this. No, yeah, we're seeing what's on here.
How about you extend this display? Make sure you go out and extend display on on your screen.
Oh, I think it got moved. It did. It got moved. All right, I think I got it now here, folks. Sorry about that. Yes, I heard that one. Yep, that would have been good. That would have been very good. All right, so I'm able to go and pick the file naming convention, how I want that worded. In this case, I'm just going to use a default. So this is just creating a cover letter based on that transmittal, based on the template that I selected. Here in the work area, I've got my new file. I can right-click to edit it. So earlier we showed you the customer management area, company management area. So in here, I'm reaping from that. So if I decide I want to pick a certain company, it's filling in information, giving me a list of contacts that are pertinent to it. I can create other fields of information to add more info, other tabs. Some of these can be pick boxes or selections. You can type in a job number, kind of like related fields for those that haven't used related fields. Picking one thing can fill in many, many different things. In this case, what it's all done is it's filled in my cover letter with all the information that I need, who I'm going to be sending it to. And then the next piece would be to attach a couple files. So if I right-click, I can add some attachments, and now I can perform any of my searches. I can use my favorites, so I can find a specific project very quickly. I can see up there. Let's go with this one. So I can pick a couple drawings. It'll add their information. I can go to other perform searches, find other files, add those to it. And all it's doing is now building a relationship for the transmittal, so I can see a yellow icon to show it's a transmittal relationship. And it's also gone and filled in all that information for me. So if I take a quick peek at it now, it's listed, and this is just my own example, the document name, the revision, the project, the discipline, and who it was drawn by. So very, very simple to go in and create these and edit these. If you've ever had the job of doing these by hand, you know it's a very laborious project, even to just find the documents. So first off, when I was picking, I'm always getting the latest version. So that was much easier right there alone. The next thing is when you go to send one, and I'm going to go grab a different one here. When you go to send a transmittal, you've got several different options. And they are among sending different links rather than sending the actual files. If they're Adept desktop users, I can send a link, URL for the web users, or I can include all documents. I can zip it up, put a password on it. I can customize the subject and type in a little more information in there. I can also ask the viewer to convert to PDF. So what that will do is actually use the built-in viewer to open each of the files that I've selected, save them as a PDF, and send that with a transmittal instead of the actual documents. From there, I send it off. The key to all of this is the ease of use in creating it and sending it off, but also being able to recall that information later on down the road, because that will happen. Somebody will call up and say, hey, we got some files last month. I think we got the wrong files. Somebody will be able to go in after this is sent off here. Somebody will be able to go in and locate that document using the transmittal search, which you can search on any of the information that's being tracked, which is who I sent it to, when I sent it, what version of the files were sent. So this is a very, very useful tool when trying to collaborate with other groups, vendors, contractors, as well as internal. A lot of our facility customers will use it as work orders. I want to create a new work order to fix something, and I want it associated with this building and maybe this office location or something like that. I know there's other systems that do that, but if they don't have those systems, that's a good start. Any questions on the transmittals? Yes. They are, thank you. They are locked to that version of that particular transmittal. So even if those drawings update in the future, when you go and look at them, look at the transmittal, you are seeing exactly what went out at that time. Thank you for that question. Good question. Yes. Yep. For you to be able to pick it, it does have to be in Adept. It's a PDF format. You would not be editing it with the Adept tools if you did so outside. I don't even think you can. I mean, I guess you could. Anything, yeah. Okay. Did that hit on it? Maybe not the answer you were looking for, but understood. Yeah. Sometimes, yeah. Yeah. Gene. All right. Let's see here. The next item that we have, let me see if I can get back here to where we were. There we go. All right, so the next item is, those are some other examples, viewing and markups. So I put this one in the list, and I think because of time we may cut this back a little bit short. But there's a couple things that a lot of people don't know about the viewer that they could make viewing much, much easier or much more enjoyable. And I'm going to hit on a couple of these. So double click to view the interface of the viewer, printing and markup. I'm actually not going to go too deep into markup and printing. There we go. So in here, first off, I want to point out, let me get to, go to my work area. All right, so first off, when I view this file, you may notice that it comes up, but the viewer itself is not zooming to extents. It's just showing me what I selected in a small location. And a lot of people will use Adept like this, but when they come in, they'll then go and say, okay, I want to now zoom in and make it bigger. And they have to do it every single time. If you find yourself, every time you go to view a file, saying zoom to extents or making it bigger, there is a nice option for that. And all of your options for viewing are located here, so I can say load documents to fit in the viewer. The other option that's in here is automatically load red lines, which most people want as well. But now if I do that same view, it'll process it and put it in the center and make it larger. So some of the things that you can use in here so you don't have to click a second time each time. And I kind of missed in that same options is where you can set up your double click. Who knows what happens to a file when I double click on it in Adept? Data card. Yep. It's actually whatever you've got it configured for. It can be the data card, it can be launch the viewer, it can be launch an application or launch it itself. All right. So the next item in here, we're gonna move past the viewing. And we're going to go to sharing. So to make the best use of Adept, each of you can personalize or share a variety of different objects. For example, to provide yourself with the most useful data in your Adept windows, you can set up the columns a certain way. You guys have probably all done that. But those same columns, when you get them in a perfect way, can be shared with other users. And there's a lot of things that can be shared. Column sets, favorites, saved searches, active library set. That one's really useful if you've got a large Adept vault and you've got hundreds and hundreds or thousands and thousands of libraries, but you only focus on these 10 libraries or this particular group of folders, you can actually ask Adept, weed out everything else for me. I really just want to focus on these items. So every time you search, every time you do anything, you're only seeing results from those. So the Share Manager, I want to talk a little bit about. Actually, did I put in? I think I did. These are some of the things that you can share. So not just the favorites and column sets, but groups, personal groups now. Ribbon sets, if you're configuring or customizing your ribbon tabs, you can share those as well. Transmittal templates you can now share among different users and enable them to be able to edit them as well. Report templates and audit trail report templates. So there's a lot more that you can share in Adept and more each version. 18 is going to add some more there. Any questions about sharing? So I told you we would look at the web clients as a very important key tool for you to collaborate with and achieve different business benefits. But you guys already saw the web clients earlier, so we're going to skip over that one for now. But if anybody has any questions on web clients, I think those are a huge part of collaboration. They're extremely important. And we're going to be giving you even more of that as the day goes on, actually as tomorrow goes on. All right. Workflow was another item. Workflow admin, originator, and routing, or AKA daisy chain. So we've heard some examples of this today. Earlier, Mark, was it you that mentioned the 3 steps? You got 1 step, that's a 1-step workflow, and then they get to make a decision to go on to the next one. Daisy chaining these together is a very useful way of creating workflows. A lot of people approach them and try to put in every single step of a possible process. I woke up this morning, step 2, I turned off the alarm clock. This can leave no room for very much variation. So daisy chaining them together is an important one. Workflow administration doesn't have to be given just to one person, the Adept administrator. It can be shared among many different people. A lot of times project managers or program managers are workflow administrators. They can manage their own process. The originator I wanted to put in here as well. Does anybody know what the originator is in a workflow? Couple? Okay. It's the person that first put the file in, very simply. And in a workflow process, a lot of times you want it to go back to whoever it was that signed it in. I don't know who it was, but Adept does. So having that as a step to return back to is very, very useful. All right, now I'm going to take a shameless plug here. How many of you know what Work Like a Pro series is? Nice, very cool. All right, we're looking for more of these. If you guys haven't had a chance to look at what we have for available ones that are already recorded, please, if you go to the Adept website, the Synergis Software website, in the upper right is the client portal. You've probably come here to download new versions. But when you go there before downloading versions, even before logging in, on the left-hand side, you're going to see training videos and Work Like a Pro. And you will then see a display similar to this, where there'll be a whole bunch of Work Like a Pro, specific topics that are about half hour, 20 minutes to half an hour, that focus on just one thing that you guys have asked us to go a little deeper on. And we would like some more ideas. So if you come up with different ones, please let us know. The ones that we're seeing here are some advanced search capabilities, revision control, admin skills, deep dive into the web client, desktop, viewer. So we pick a new topic each time, and some of these we've actually come back around and updated for other users, but these are all available for you guys to use for your user community as well. Any questions on that? Any suggestions for other Work Like a Pro series? Please. Yes. They don't need a login. You don't need a login to get to this. You go to that location, and where you would typically type in your login, just to the left, you'll see these options. So you don't need to log in. Can you for sure? All right, thank you. Thank you, David. I wasn't sure, because I know some of our website recordings can't. They can only be played. Okay. Any topic ideas for future ones? All right. Thank you, folks, very, very much for your time. If you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to hit me up. Thanks.